welcome into uh, just a hanky-panky version of sport ball. We got Kyle over here. We just spent the first 10 minutes before this episode debating what a jigsaw puzzle is versus a regular puzzle. Kyle's over here attempting to paint a portrait of Ben as Mona Lisa, I think.
With his
That's
finger.
fine. That's
not far off.
I have a mere 3 drinks in front of me, but I do have spam fried rice, which may count as a half a drink. I don't know.
Spam fried.
Okay?
Me, no.
What the hell is spam fried rice?
3 drinks.
Well, you put spam into rice that you fry.
But that's what I mean. Who eats spam?
Have you
Besides
tried
the
it,
Hawaiians?
Dude, spam, it's this stupid white culture we have where everyone's like, oh, spam is disgusting. They're wrong. Spam is great.
It's canned meat.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I don't discriminate where my meat comes from. I mean, a little bit, I suppose. But I mean, we eat hot dogs. You don't know what's in that.
Nor do I want to.
How you doing, Seth?
I'm great. Living the life. Just had some homemade pizza. Just over here in the land of more than 11,000 lakes. Chilling.
Not as catchy, though.
It's true.
Well, this is our last pod before the big NBA pod, which some claim is our best, except no one on this one did. But if you're looking for the big NBA preview pod, that's going to be
stop listening now.
So I'm pretty excited for that, but I really wanted to have more time to dive in. The season starts in 2 weeks, so we'll release the preview pod as the season starts, basically. You know what? Let's do a little plug for our socials. Check us out on Twitter, on Instagram at sportball_pod. Check us out on YouTube, Sportball Pod. You just Google it, you'll find us on YouTube. You can subscribe. I started posting the videos to there again, and we're also the pods will be on SoundCloud, Apple, and Spotify as well. All right, people in Belgium who might not be locked in. I would especially follow our Instagram if you like really, really bad Photoshop.
Which who doesn't?
Exactly.
The Belgians crave it, I hear.
The Belgians love Kirk Cousins holding popcorn. They get out of bed in the morning for it.
That one was pretty good.
Thank you. So this isn't the NBA pod yet, but what it is just another NFL podcast. That's what we should name our podcast, honestly. Just another NFL podcast. We're gonna go around the league. Little news, little noise. Some like another stupid gimmick that I made us do at the end, which will be lambasted by both you and our peers as well as our listeners. Let's start with some news though. And I want to start with Tua's injury, getting a little serious here. I mean, that was some scary stuff. It would happen Thursday Night Football. So the week before, he fell to the ground and then seemingly had a concussion, but they said it was a back injury. He stumbled afterwards. We were wondering if the neurological response was caused by his spine instead of his head, et cetera, et cetera. They said no concussion. He plays again that last week and got thrown to the ground. Just brutal to see. His hands were like stuck in a claw position almost. Or it's probably one of the worst injuries I've seen.
Fencing response or something like that, if you were wondering.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and even the football players in the halftime show were like, yeah, that's probably one of the worst I've seen. So I think the only good thing that's going to come out of it, well, first of all, is that he seems to be recovering pretty well and no long-term damage seems to have been found. But I think there's going to be some serious concussion protocol change after that, and there should be.
As soon as week 5, they were thinking of implementing some new rule or something.
Well, the one good thing in the NFL is, I mean, they mess up all the time, but if they mess up really bad, they are on it, changing it, especially if the public, sways against them. And I think,
is that true?
It has to be really bad for it to happen, but when it does, then they're on it because they can't stand to be.
So like when the video of Ray Rice slamming a woman in the elevator came out, then they changed their tact and now they respond well when there's allegations of relationship
No, no, no,
violence?
no, no. It has nothing to do with anything outside of football. They only respond to stuff that is they put on TV.
I see. Okay.
That's correct. So yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like there's anything really necessarily nefarious done by the Dolphins. We'll see. There is a independent doctor that's supposed to look at head injuries, and he got fired. So could have been partly his fault. And I think it's just kind of the protocol is too easy to get out of because players want to get back in the game and they know how to answer the questions, or whatever, how to kind of pass it. So yeah, I don't know. It was definitely tough to watch, and it just reminds us this is truly a despicable sport when you get down to it.
I mean, it really is. Make pickleball great again, to be honest.
Pickleball would never let this happen.
I totally agree with that. And like, if we weren't all addicts of football, then we shouldn't watch it. I mean, we still shouldn't, but then it's also funny that we're talking about like how to keep this sport safe and try to prevent concussions and like people getting head trauma, and then during ad breaks or even like they'll come back and the announcers will be advertising like boxing and UFC and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the whole point of that sport is to give someone else a head injury,
Yeah,
and knock them out. But that's fine. That's different. And I'm like, okay,
it's honestly crazy. We just have a sport where we watch people fight.
yeah. And then it's like, if you get a knockout, if you knock the other person out cold, then you win. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how far have we really come from the Coliseum Gladiator days? You have to wonder.
Yep.
Colin, you didn't put, or you're still painting over there? He
I mean,
said
I
he
had
would
nothing-
stop when this podcast started.
I had
He was just
nothing
addicted
to
it as he
provide
is
there.
football.
There was just nothing to add.
Okay, moving on. This one, I think I'll have a few things to add if I were to guess. The Philadelphia Eagles of the city of brotherly love are 4-0. They have lost 0 games and they have won 4, you might say. I mean, I think the biggest thing, I mean, we kind of hinted at it 2 weeks ago, but like Jalen Hurts is like an elite pocket passer now, somehow. I mean,
All it took was talent and a good offensive line.
yeah, I honestly, I mean, I've always liked Jalen, but I really did not see this coming. Like he's completing tight window passes with the best of them. I mean, it's like crossing Tom Brady with prime Michael Vick. It might even be better than that.
I mean, I was pounding the drum for Jalen since he was drafted, essentially.
That's true.
I definitely watched him in college a lot more than you guys did. I don't know if you've ever watched a game of him in college, to be honest.
Have I ever watched a game of anyone in college?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Did
Well,
you
the
know
thing
that the
about Jalen-
U of I has a running back named Charlie Brown?
Are you serious?
Wow.
Is he
Yeah,
good?
he's actually a stud.
Does he try kicking too, and then they take the ball away from him in the last minute?
Yeah. Yeah, they have a coach on the sideline that has dirt that flies up anytime he walks to. They call him Lionel.
I thought it was Linus.
Is it Linus?
Closely related though.
Yeah.
You can't copy it too much, people
course
start
not.
to get wise. The thing that people always say about Jalen too is that he's like the hardest worker in the NFL, and like all he cares about is getting better. So I guess it shouldn't be that surprising he keeps getting better, but like, my God, I mean, he's just gotten better every year.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I think last year with the lack of Jalen Rager playing out, RIP, rest his soul, best returner in football, though.
He's still alive.
Not for long.
I think they tried to use him inside a little too much, and they kind of forced Devonta to play an outside role, which he can. He's extremely fast, right? But one thing he thrived at Alabama too was like playing underneath and being that kind of guy that has the breakaway speed and the moves to put on, defenders in the open field. It seems like Jalen's starting to throw to him obviously more in that part of the field, which really opens things up then for AJ Brown on the outside. And like I said last time, it's just it's Dallas Goedert season. It has been.
Yeah, can't argue with that. And their defense is really too. I mean, their D line we always knew was kind of a force, and their secondary is where they come into their own. So I had a so they might be favored in every game they have left. Can I went through the schedule. Can I go through it for you?
I told you this before the season.
Didn't we do this?
No.
But let's run it back.
We got it. I
Right?
heavily researched this. Look, I swear to God, they might be favored in every game the rest of the season. All right, you ready? Okay, so they have the Cardinals, who should be disbanded as a franchise. They have the Cowboys, okay, at home, so they're probably favored. There's the Steelers, who might be the worst team in the league. They have the Texans, who haven't won a game yet. They have the Washington Commies, who have Carson Wentz as their quarterback. If you
The Commies, is that what they go by?
That's what I call them. We have the Colts, who, I mean, my God, could be one of the worst franchises in the league as well. We had the Packers at home. So let's go back to that later. We have the Titans. The Titans. I mean, any AFC South team, anyone in the league should be favored against, including the AFC South. We have the Giants, who had Saquon Barkley as their quarterback last week and still beat the Bears, but and then we have the Bears, who can't complete more than 11 passes in a game. We have the Cowboys on the road. Let's get back to that one. We have the Saints, and then we have the Giants again. So I think the Packers and the Cowboys on the road, maybe they're not favorites, but other than that, I mean, they could end 15-2, be the 1 seed, and not have been tested at all in any way.
I mean, why are you
incredible
projecting them to lose 2 games is the real question.
You slip up here, you slip up there, Seth, were you listening to that entire time or no?
Barely. I thought we went through this last episode and the one before.
We're gonna run it back every time we're on, to be honest.
I don't know what you think this podcast is. It's just us reading the Eagles schedule.
Oh, okay.
I heard the Eagles were actually going to change their name mid-season to the Philadelphia Dogs because that's all they are.
I also love how, I don't know who it was, but they called all their players Batman. They're like, we got AJ Brown, he's buff Batman. We've got Devontae, skinny Batman. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys realized either. Hurts probably, I mean, shout out Justin Jefferson, but Hurts has the best gritty in the NFL.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. It's surprising.
What about Mike Gesicki? He has something to say.
Or Zach Wilson.
Zach's was actually pretty good, but that's no surprise from a guy who apparently goes out sleeping with his mom's friends. So,
shout out our guy. Yeah. Shout out our boy Benjamin Solak. We love him.
I love him.
We know him well. He just wrote recently actually about Jalen Hurts, and if the offense that they're running is sustainable, specifically Hurts being on pace for 225 carries this season, which is 50 more carries than the previous record at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
A little sneak peek, if you choose to read the article. It is sustainable because Hurts is just a special runner.
Wow. Is he the best runner in the league, or is it Lamar still? Gotta be Lamar, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he might be ready to be a better passer than Lamar, though.
Oh, he's definitely a better passer than Lamar.
Wow.
I told you last time. I said Jalen Hurts is who Lamar Jackson wishes he was. It makes you think.
Certainly made me think there. Yeah. I mean, what's more to say? I mean, we're looking good for that bet, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean,
Massive
someone's going to owe me money. I don't know who it's going to be. It's either going to be Seth or Matt. Yeah.
It's definitely going to be me.
Last thing I want to hit on the news of the NFL. The Chiefs slap around the Bucks 41-31. Not as close as the score would indicate, or is it really? I'd say no. Well, the Bucks fumbled the opening kickoff, and then it was all downhill from there. And Patty had the best play I've ever seen, and he has had a lot of great plays. But that was the best play I've ever seen. I mean, the man was just spin moving, shaking off defenders. It just seems like, and this is kind of why I was high in the previous season, like it doesn't seem like Patrick Mahomes needs elite receivers, right? Seth, he just kind of does. He gets it done. The Bucks defense is one of the best in the league too.
Which begs the question, how could he not get it done against the Colts, one of the worst teams in the league? when I think all three of us picked them in Survivor.
I think someone
just
told him that we
despicable.
picked him, so he said, "Let's
Yeah.
throw
The
this one."
Colts every year. I don't think since I've started Survivor, I've lost. The only games that I have lost have been Colts
And the
games,
Colts,
whether on
yeah.
them or against them.
We
It's
should
definitely We should
might-
we should
never.
just stop.
Yeah, it's
touching the
honestly ever picking any team from the AFC South is just a death wish. Or
Against them
picking
or for
against
them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Don't touch a game that the AFC South has its fingers
Act
in.
like the AFC South isn't in the NFL because they shouldn't be.
Well, now we know for next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Patty, I feel like he's just one of those quarterbacks who his wide receivers, I don't want to say they're irrelevant, because I think having a special talent like a Tyreek Hill, and even I would say like still having Kelsey around, like makes a big difference for the Chiefs offense, I think. But he's just so talented, and he can extend the play for so long that, and like connect with receivers in ways that we've never seen before, that it just makes it so difficult to defend even an average wide receiver for that long, and with the types of angles that he can fit the ball into, and like the types of trick plays that he has. It's just like, you don't need to be a elite wide receiver to get open enough for Patty to get you the ball. So
Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is the Gen Z Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Prove me wrong.
Well, he's better than Aaron Rodgers, that despicable man.
We don't know if Patrick's even unlocked his full self by going on an ayahuasca trip yet.
That's true.
Good
Someone
point.
see if you can get him on a trip. I think, like you're saying, step two with the trick plays, it's also like just the combination of Andy Reid and Patrick is kind of wide receiver proof, because I feel like Andy can get open looks for lesser receivers due to scheme,
mhm.
and then Patrick just wheels and deals. So I think such an elite combination, right? That offensive mind with perhaps the greatest quarterback ever.
Okay.
Great for the league,
Easy.
Huh?
I think
What?
greatest quarterback ever is a little bit premature.
Well, I said perhaps. So everything I say after perhaps is out the window.
The best podcast host ever, but I wouldn't go that
Well, I wouldn't put perhaps before that statement. But, so the Bucks on the other side, the most surprising part of this game for me was they allowed CH and Isaiah Pacheco to just run all over them. I mean, CH had 92, Pacheco 63. Looks great, honestly, Pacheco. And this is a
small, and he
team.
plays football pretty well too.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team with Vita Vea and assorted others on the line that are supposed to be run stoppers, and they just ran all over them. I think the Bucks will be fine though. I mean their offense is very good, which was nice to see with some with Godwin and Evans back. 31 points for them. I think, Kyle, that they're probably just going to end up being 10-6, 11-5 as we predicted, and just kind of cruise to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and I think I meant to look it up, but I forgot. I think Mike Evans had the biggest yards after catch play of his career during that game of like 8 yards.
I was going to say, was it like 2 yards?
Yeah. It was close, but yeah.
I love how Kyle calls him.
Where's this man been for the last 10 years?
I love how
All
Kyle
he's
calls him
been
an
doing is
accumulator.
getting
which is
1,000 yards and scoring touchdowns every game.
Yeah.
It's despicable of him.
Kyle was like, he's just an accumulator, as if that's A, like even a word, or B, even an insult, but he uses it as such. All he does is rack up yards.
Accumulate yards, catches, touchdowns, and Super Bowls.
I hope the Bears never have someone like him.
Well, the Bears don't make any passing yards anyway, so they're Justin Fields' high
There's an
is
excuse for
11
that, okay?
completions.
I don't know if you saw the graph going around, the chart, but in terms of all of football, there's been the Bears obviously have the worst offensive line, probably maybe ever. Justin Fields is under pressure on like 48% of dropbacks.
Wow.
Are you guys in on Justin Fields still?
Yes.
No.
Dude, he's a really good runner. He's shown that. He's made some really good plays too. The man has literally no time, and there's no receivers in that group that know how to separate. Get him
I
some
mean,
receivers and improve that offensive line. I think this is a completely different story.
it's hard to say. Like, I'll give him an incomplete because, like Kyle said, he doesn't have a lot around him, which is like, yeah, it's hard to say. I'm not like in love with him. I mean, I think he's definitely a good runner and can make like big plays and scramble around when things break down, but I haven't seen any sort of semblance of pocket presence or awareness or like
You
being good
can't
at
judge on
pocket
that though,
passing.
because he doesn't have the opportunity to even sit in the pocket.
I just like to see it once in a while. That's all, just a
He
glimpse.
he doesn't control that though. He doesn't control
So-
that the linemen just let everyone through. They're just turnstiles. You'd be better off with a turnstile.
What if you just put him in front of like one of those, like at the train when you go through those things? You think he'd do better?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I think so.
I don't know. I think, but that's the thing. It's like we're gonna have another high pick next year, and we're not gonna know if Justin Fields is good. So should we take another quarterback, or what are we gonna do? We should take
No, you
5
take the
offensive
best
linemen.
offensive linemen that there is. Yes.
I don't know. There's something about that Ohio State pipeline. Not to go on too much of a tangent here, but
Here
it
we
just
go.
seems like those quarterbacks can't make a second read because they don't have to.
Not in college.
Exactly.
Somebody
Especially
get Day out of there. Ryan
Right.
Day. He's too good.
Exactly. That's what I fear. I mean, I guess we'll see with CJ Stroud. Maybe that'll be the real test. All right, moving on. I want to do a little who's in our contender circle. As we know, each year there's probably like 6 or 8 teams that can really win the Super Bowl. Although at this point last year, I'm not sure we would have put the Bengals in it, right?
They didn't win.
Definitely
Here.
not.
They didn't win the Super Bowl, but they were in it. So by rights, they had a chance.
They never had any chance to win the Super Bowl.
Game over. So I have a list. You want me to just read it to you? And you guys can critique me.
Please.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
It's a tiered list. Okay. First tier, Bills and Chiefs. Both teams are pretty good, I think.
Is that the
Easy.
number 1 tier?
Yeah.
You don't have Philadelphia in there?
Next tier, Philadelphia and
How is
Tampa
Philadelphia
Bay.
not on the top tier? They're the only undefeated team in the league. We just went over how great they are.
It's not all about wins and losses, Kyle.
Well, your
Okay.
list is already wrong.
Well, I just went over how easy their schedule is. Like I'm saying, they could be 15-2. We're really just not going to know how good they are. You really take them against the Bucs or the Chiefs? And by the Bucs or the
Against the
Chiefs,
Bucs,
I mean the
yes.
Bills or the Chiefs? Sorry, the Bills or the Chiefs?
Yes. I think they have one of the most
Wow.
balanced offenses in the league, too. Like, I think Miles Sanders pulled the wool over our eyes the last couple of years, and he's actually really a good runner. He just didn't have the space previously.
He's actually been kilometer Sanders this whole time. We just didn't see it. Okay, well, that's a bold take, but I'm not surprised that you said that. Seth, do you agree that with those 2 tiers so far?
Who is in your second tier besides the Eagles?
The Buccaneers
Packers?
of Tampa Bay.
Oh. I don't
You could
know.
probably throw the Packers in there.
I feel like it's so lopsided between the AFC and NFC, where just by virtue of the way the playoffs are structured, like I probably think a team like the Ravens or the Dolphins is like as good as the Bucks, but it's just too crowded in the AFC, so they're not going to make it as far in the playoffs as the Bucks are. So for that reason, the Bucks have a better chance at making the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that, though. The Ravens have not looked very good so far on defense, especially.
Yeah, I guess so. But, I mean, they should have won that Bills game, let's be honest.
Maybe Lamar had to take the poop.
I mean, they could have kicked a field goal to go up slightly, and they decided to go for it, which hoorah, Harbaugh. I'm a big fan. They just didn't execute. There was a wide open was it Bateman, I think, in the back corner of the end zone. Lamar just missed the read. If he would have stepped up in the pocket instead of dropping back and he got pressured. I watched the replay a couple times. It was floating around Twitter. Like that's a pass that freaking, I don't know, Justin Fields can make.
Whoa, let's not go that far. I mean, he also did the worst thing possible. Like he threw an interception, so they got the ball at the 20 instead of having to march down the whole field,
That, and there was the outrageous roughing the passer call that extended that drive on third down for the Bills, which
Yeah.
it was one of the worst. I mean, Josh Allen, the play before or the drive before, tried, or no, it was the play before, tried to get roughing the passer call, and then the next play he got hit again, and they threw the flag on that one. So it's like
Makeup call.
yeah,
That's
and
why
neither of
that's
them
why it
were
was-
roughing the passer. So
That's why he was lather up the refs. First rule of sports. No comment
No
whatsoever on that.
comment.
Okay, well, the Ravens are coming up, so let me just finish my list, okay? Next tier, I had, and maybe you'll switch this tier based on what you said. Next year, I had Packers, Rams, and Niners. And then the tier after that, I had Ravens and Dolphins. But judging on what you guys said, you'd probably switch those two tiers, huh?
I like the Niners.
I mean, the Rams have not looked good, to be
No.
honest. Should I even have them in here? I mean, they did win the Super Bowl last year. I feel like they had to be kind of grandfathered in.
do they though?
Maybe not. I mean, Ben Skoranek is their best player right now, so
Okay. They still have Cooper Cup.
that's true.
I don't know. It's so early in the season still. It's like one game sways our opinion so much about each of these teams. I mean, if you're saying the Packers, well, I could be like, well, the Vikings beat the Packers and they have the same record. So why don't the Vikings in the same tier as the Packers?
I'll give you one reason the Vikings are in the same tier. as
I'd
the
rather
Packers,
you
and
don't
that's
say
Kirk
it.
Cousins.
You shall not be named.
So those are
Don't speak his name.
those are the 8 teams I had, and then I had Jags ?
Hmm.
But I'm not sure I really believe that
I mean,
because
the
even though they come
Jags
out of the
definitely-
AFC South, it's time
Yeah,
in the NFL. So
they definitely had the hardest matchup that they've had all year. Obviously, it's only 4 weeks in, but we just talked about how good of a defense Philadelphia is, and even still, Philadelphia gave them a large lead halfway through the first quarter. I think it was 14-0, and then before you knew it, the Eagles were up by what, like 2 scores within the next 2 quarters. So
yeah, I mean, if Trevor Lawrence hadn't fumbled and lost an NFL record 4 fumbles in a game, they might have won.
I don't
Turns
think they
out-
would've won.
Trevor Lawrence, no good in the rain, too slippery, can't handle it. Anyone else you would throw in there, Seth, or does that seem like a good list to you?
I mean, are we overreacting to the Bengals' early season struggles?
I think so.
They've won
Bengals
2 in
are
a
cooked.
row.
They should have won the
You
first game. I mean,
They should have
What are
won
you
the
gonna do?
first game. Both their losses were by 3 points. They just beat Miami soundly, who you had in the mix. You know, they're playing Baltimore. Is it Sunday or Monday Night Football this upcoming week? Sunday night. If they beat the Ravens this Sunday, are we just like, oh yeah, Bengals, they're contenders?
I guess it's just like it's hard to make the playoffs when you start 0-2 and you're in the NFC. So if they're
Yeah,
they
you
not if
say
they only
that,
have a
but-
20% chance to make the playoffs, as Kyle told us last week or 2 weeks ago, then I can't really put them as a contender.
well, let me see what
That's
they're at
not
now.
true.
Well, it
I'm
was
sure it's
that a couple
changed.
weeks ago, but yeah.
They're in the
That was after
playoffs.
2 weeks. Yeah.
If it started today, they'd be in the playoffs. So
Yeah, it must be.
they
changed,
definitely have
then.
more than a 20% chance. And I mean, if you look at their remaining schedule, right, they've got Baltimore, got New Orleans, they could win that. Falcons, Browns, Panthers, Steelers, Titans. So that's
Yeah,
6,
Bengals.
7 more
Bengals are back to
games.
55% to make the playoffs, according to 538. So
They could easily be 9-3 a few weeks from now.
So should we put them as our 9th contender instead of the Jags?
probably.
I think I'd still have them, yeah, over the Jags and maybe over. I don't know. It's kind of funny choosing between them and the Rams, the 2 Super Bowl teams from last year.
That Super Bowl hangover. I mean, there are some notable teams missing as well, I think.
And
like
the other thing we should say, I mean, we talked about Tua's injury, right?
yeah.
How does that impact Miami? Are we really going to pick Miami with a backup quarterback over Joe Burrow and the Bengals?
I mean, Teddy Two Gloves is a pretty good backup.
I told you I would trade my kidney for Teddy Two Gloves to be the quarterback of the Vikings, but
Run it back.
of course, I never wanted him to leave.
I think they'll be like fine without Teddy, but it depends how long it is, right? Or with Teddy, I mean.
Yeah.
Sounds like it
Notably
might
abs-
only be a 1 week thing, to be honest.
Notably absent from this list are two AFC West teams that we perhaps thought were contenders coming into this season in the Chargers.
I still
of
think they're
Russell.
contenders. It's just, well, actually, they lost their left tackle for the entire season, didn't they?
Yeah, they've been ravaged by injuries and bad coaching and classic Chargers luck.
Dude, they have the worst luck with injuries. That medical staff needs to go or something.
I can't believe the same doctor who stabbed Tyrod Taylor in the lung is still with the team while being sued by Tyrod Taylor and administered the same exact shot to Justin Herbert last week. How does this go on? Like, oh, I hope he gets it right this time. What are we doing here? There's not another doctor you can hire?
Maybe there aren't that many. I don't know.
There's plenty of doctors. I could go ahead and not stab you in the lung if you're looking for anyone to fill in.
That's
show
the
me-
benchmark.
Show me where the lung is. I'll avoid it. No problem.
I love that you're a doctor and you don't know how to find a lung. Okay, what's this thing I'm not supposed to stab? Can you show me where it is?
Draw me a picture of it. I'll be good. I don't know, man. I don't think I can pick anyone as a contender who just has a curse over their entire franchise. Just can't do it.
I don't know. They still got Justin Herbert.
Everyone says that as if Justin Herbert's going to save this team from the morass of the black depths.
They still have Austin Eckler. They still got Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's supposed to be back after this week, I think. So I wouldn't count them out.
I'm counting them out. You can consider them counted out. The other thing is they play in a soccer stadium with no fans. Well, there are fans there. They're just for the other team, which is usually not what you want in your home field advantage. I don't know, man. All right. And the other team missing is the Broncos, who are a despicable franchise. Absolutely disgusting what I see from this team.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right,
They're
should we move
atrocious.
on from the contenders? I think that was enough. I don't even know what we decided on.
Too much,
Nor do any
probably.
of our fans. I wanted to quickly touch on who the worst team in the league is because it's kind of funny because I feel like a lot of the favorites for this coming into the season just keep winning. Like the Falcons are 2-2, tied for the lead in the NFC South with the Bucks, despite not passing to Kyle Pitts at all.
Kyle Pitts, I think, has as many catches as Tyler Higbee had this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Kyle Pitts would be the third fantasy scoring tight end of the Seahawks.
That's fucked up. I mean, I think the leader in the clubhouse right now is probably the Texans.
They're so
and
scrappy
yet,
though.
I feel like they're kind of frisky.
They only.
And
They're
then-
0-3-1, but they lose by 3 every time.
And then I would say like the Bears, right? But they're 2-2 somehow.
Right, exactly. The
Means
Bears
somehow.
are 2-2. The Seahawks are 2-2. The Jets are 2-2. The Steelers, maybe. I mean, they're 1-3.
I mean, the Colts
Yeah, but-
are the Colts are 1-2-1, but their one win was against the Chiefs.
I mean, the
What could it
Commies
mean?
are 1-3 and named after Russia. I mean, that's got to be one of them. The Panthers are 1-3, and Baker Mayfield. This offense is maybe the least efficient in NFL history. Like, it's really, really historically bad. Baker Mayfield can't even throw a pass over the line. He's really, really bad.
He is atrocious.
Did you guys realize this?
Yeah, I mean, at what point do they just go back to Sam
who?
Darnold?
Sam Darnold, they said, is not even ready to play.
What's wrong with him?
He's Sam Darnold. He's never going to be ready.
Cut the man some slack. Jeez.
Dude, oh my God. I mean, I'll say it again. Baker Mayfield has to be the worst athlete to ever be in a commercial, right? Not only that, they're probably my favorite commercials.
I mean, to ever be like in a recurring role in a commercial. Yeah.
Not even that. I mean, come on now. You think Sam Darnold was ever even in like a local New York commercial? Not a fucking chance. No way.
If he was, he'd still be better than Baker Mayfield, so it doesn't matter. I mean, Kirk Cousins must have been in some commercial, I would think.
Well, Kirk Cousins is way better than Baker Mayfield.
That is not true at all. In any
Have you
sense
seen
of the
Baker
word.
Mayfield play? He
I
cannot.
don't need to.
It feels impossible for the Panthers to get a first down when you watch them. You can't even fathom how they might do it.
I make it a rule not to watch the Panthers, so apologies if I am speaking out of turn. That being said, I'd rather have a wet napkin than Kirk Cousins, so I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield is better than a wet napkin.
Okay, imagine if Nathan Peterman, who famously threw 4 receptions and a half, did a local commercial with New Jersey, okay? Is that where he was playing? New Jersey? Doesn't even matter. That's the only state that would take him anyway. That's how bad it is. It's disgusting. So yeah, I don't know who the worst team is. I really think it might be the Commanders.
Steelers, maybe?
Yeah, or the Steelers. The Steelers they got Mike Tomlin, though. They're not going to go like 2-15, right?
Right, and now it's Kenny Pickett season. It's small hand season.
Do you remember? I don't know if I told you guys this. I think I did though. Everyone was like, everyone was making fun of Kenny Pickett for having really small hands. Like, dude, this guy's hands are like 8.5, 9 inches. There's no way he can even grip a football. I was like, oh, let me see how big mine are. I go and measure mine. Mine are barely 6 inches. It's a wonder how I do daily tasks around the house.
Are you talking like thumb to the tip of your pinky?
Yeah, you like spread your thumb and your tip of your pinky as far as you can.
They're,
on a ruler.
They're barely 6 inches?
Yeah, I don't even know how I hold a glass of water.
How is that even possible?
How do you
I don't know, dude.
How have we gone this whole time without knowing you have baby?
It really freaked me out, to be honest. I couldn't do anything the rest of the day.
You know that Giannis's hands are 12 inches, right? His hands are literally twice the size of yours.
If I put 2 of my hands together, they would barely be the size of one of Giannis's hands. It's
That's
not
unthinkable, to be honest.
It really ruined my confidence for a week. I don't know. I don't even know like how I
Just a week
from it. All right, let's move on, please.
You rebound well.
Well, I don't rebound well because my hands are only 6 inches.
Oh God.
Okay. It's time for America's favorite segment. You like that? Starring me and you guys.
Not Kirk Cousins.
Colloquially, I think we should start calling it "You like that, don't you? You sick man." And I even came up with an acronym for it that we can trademark. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
YLTDYYSSM. What do you think about that?
How do you pronounce that?
Yiltism. Yeah, I think it's winning. I already trademarked it just in case. So, all right, I should explain the segment. I mean, there's really nothing to explain. I just say things and you guys tell me if you like it or not.
I think you've explained it too much already.
All right. The Seattle Seahawks to win the NFC West at 20-1 on DraftKings right now. You like that? Each team in the division is 2-2. Every single team. Not one of the teams is not 2-2. Kyle, you like that, don't you?
No. How are you just tried to pull a quick one on me and think I'm gonna go for a Pete Carroll run team?
You must like this, right?
Who you think
listen. Don't you know that they wrote Geno Smith off, but he didn't write back?
That's true. That is a fact.
That's got to be one of the greatest post-game interview lines ever. I don't even know what it means, but it's so prophetic at the same time. So
Yeah,
you like
but
that?
no, I don't like that.
Seth doesn't look like he likes it either, to be honest.
mean, 20-1 is nice odds, but it's pretty hard to fathom.
It's those odds for a reason.
Do you
Yeah.
sick men realize that Geno Smith is completing 77% of his passes right now?
I mean, if they were 4-0, maybe, but it's not like they have a lead on the other teams that are clearly better than them.
Geno Smith is completing 8 out of every 10 passes, essentially. He's leagues and bounds better than Russell Wilson. It's not even close.
I mean,
I don't know what to tell you.
They're 2-2. They played the Lions, the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Broncos.
Yeah.
They've only played bad teams, except the Broncos, who are Super Bowl contenders.
And the Niners, who they beat. Oh, no,
they didn't beat the Niners. They got demolished, 27-7.
All I'm saying is he did right back. All right. So we got to keep that in mind.
Smith completed 24 passes for less than 200 yards that game.
This really should be like 50-1, if anything.
I think you just talked yourself out of it.
I don't necessarily like these things.
So how much you guys like you put on that?
Nothing. All right.
Yet.
Speaking of Russell Wilson, next one.
Oh,
Broncos under 9 wins. You gotta like that.
Love that.
You have to love it. They're the worst team in the league.
And they just lost the worst running back, or the best running back.
Yeah, exactly. And are returning to the worst. No comment. How do you feel, Seth, that Russell Wilson is going to have less wins this year than he does bathrooms in his own home?
Well, I mean, he might have less wins than he does bedrooms in his own home.
Oh,
did I just say that?
You think he's going to have 3 wins? He already has 2.
What they lost, it's like the offense was Cortland and Javonte. They lost half of that.
Yeah, and Melvin Gordon is their starting running back now, who's fumbled 4 times in the last 4 games.
He's started to get hooked on the popcorn like Kirk.
Have you seen? Apparently, Russ has a endorsement deal with Subway.
Oh, dude, have you seen this? It's like he's holding a hostage.
Good, dude. It's one of the worst and creepiest things I've ever seen.
It is honestly like I fear for the other person in the commercial.
The
Russ is acting so weird. I don't know what he's up to.
He is weird. He's just not normal.
Okay. No. All right. Well, Seth loves that, as do we all. I got two Eagles related ones for you.
Thank you.
The Eagles over under. The Eagles over under is now 13.5 wins. You pound the over.
Yeah, I mean, I said that before the season started.
Dude, we're gonna destroy Seth in this bet. It's not gonna be close.
I'm waving the white flag on that one. Yeah.
Oh my god. And related MVP, Jalen Hurts plus 550.
Love that.
I mean, if this team is the 1 seed,
easy.
Yeah, very realistic.
Has a player ever won most? Is there a most improved player for the NFL? I don't know if there is, but if there is, he's going to win that and MVP. Has that ever been done? I don't think there's a most improved player.
There's a comeback player of the year.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Which nobody understands. It's like that most improved in the NBA where everyone hates it. All right. Offensive rookie of the year. Kyle, you'll like this, I can imagine. Romeo Doubs or Dobbs or Doobs.
Dobbs.
Plus 700. You pound that, don't you?
I do like that.
Yeah, you like that.
I thought you were going to bring up him Pickens, though. What are his odds? Because I love that.
You like that. You like that too, don't you?
Well, unfortunately,
Pickens.
His odds are longer than Dobbs.
Well, he had to play with Mitch Trubisky's corpse the first 4 games of the season, so he couldn't do much. Kyle's looking away to bet that right now. I know you like that, don't you? You sick man.
I mean, I can see him taking off for sure, being Aaron Rodgers' new favorite boy. So I think those are pretty good odds.
All right, I have 2 more. Are you ready? Mitch Trubisky to never throw a pass in the NFL again. Minus 300. You like that, don't you? You pound that. I made that up, but that's probably good odds. Minus 300. There's not a chance the man is in the NFL anymore.
I mean, he could be a backup somewhere, and then the first stringer gets injured.
He can be a backup somewhere if that somewhere is the Canadian Football League. Yeah.
I'd take him over Kirk Cousins. I'll tell you that.
You would not take Mitch Trubisky over Kirk Cousins. Now you've gone too far.
Okay, you said this now, and then I'm gonna have to get these texts from you on Sunday when you're watching the Vikings. You're like, "Oh my God, Kirk Cousins is so bad." It's like, do you think I've been joking this whole time?
Dude, I got to tell you, he is. I don't know if he looks worse in London or what because of the lighting, but he was unwatchable. Unwatchable on Sunday. When he got a delay of game at the 3-yard line, I had to turn the TV off. I couldn't look at his face anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know how you watch him every week. I don't know how you do it.
I can only do it because I complain about him so much.
Kyle, I know you like that. Mitch Trubisky never throw a pass again.
I love that. Yeah. I was just trying to pull up the rookie receiving leaders so far through 4 weeks. Obviously, Olave is leading the charge, and that's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
But I mean, Pickens has really only played in 2 games, and he's 5th on the list and only 17 receiving yards behind Dobbs. And now with Zach Wilson, and Garrett Wilson was 2nd, but it seems as though Zach's got more of a thing for Elijah Moore. What are Pickens' odds to be the rookie receiving yard leader?
Well, I already bet that before the season. It's probably worse.
I know.
Now.
Yeah. No way. You think it's worse? I bet the odds are better. Well,
I don't know. It was at 14-1. I don't know where you're going to find that now, though. And maybe your offshore accounts. DraftKings, if you just sponsor us, we'd have all this information at our fingertips.
is it not?
I know they've been trying to hit the Belgian markets too. I know they have. All right, I got one last one. The Arizona Cardinals franchise to be disbanded plus 150. You like that, don't you? Disbanded.
That's plus 150 only.
It was up to me. That'd be minus 100. I can't watch them anymore either.
I mean, where do they go? Who's lost the team?
They're gone. Their players get sprinkled into other teams. Cliff goes
And
home.
we just have an odd number of teams in the NFL.
Seth, I know you love that. Get him out of there.
I mean, I wouldn't be against it.
I can't watch them. Kyler Murray's always mad for some reason.
How many
He's
teams?
so short.
How many teams in the NFL right now are you physically unable to watch?
All right, I'll list them for you right now. The Vikings on offense, or when Kirk Cousins is on the field. The Panthers with Baker Mayfield, probably, or Sam Darnold. We haven't seen it yet. The Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. That's not that bad, though. I kind of hate watching the commies, you know? I mean, some of these teams is like watching a train wreck. You can't really look away. Well, I like to see George Pickens get to look, you know?
Yeah. But with Mitch, they were in that bucket.
Yeah, they were pretty tough to watch for sure. I mean, there's some pretty bad offenses this year.
Kenny Pickett threw 3 interceptions and still had a higher pass rating than probably Mitch has had in any game this season, right?
Kenny's a breath of fresh air. He's out there just yelling at guys, just slapping a defensive lineman in the ass after he tackles them. I just love to see it out there, you know? He's got that certain aura about him. How many times over the next 20 years do you think I'm going to mess up Pickett and Pickens?
Oh my God. I've already done it 1,000 times.
It's tough. One of them's got to change their name. There's no way around it. All right. Well, that was the NFL. That was YLTDYYSSMA. Trademark pending. I threw an A at the end. I'm not sure what it real quick, we should probably hit that Aaron Judge, if we care, hit 62 home runs, which breaks the AL record. Does anyone really care?
I don't. Kyle probably does.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, the American League's been around for 121 years. So
it's a lot of home runs.
It's a feat that, I don't know, we might not ever see again in our lifetime, right? I think the last person to do it was George Maris, right? He had 61, which was one more than Babe Ruth's 60.
Roger Maris?
Roger Maris.
Did I
His
say
son is George.
I'm
I don't know why I do that.
His son is named George?
Well, his son has been held hostage in every Yankees game. They make him come out to every Yankees game for the last 2 weeks to see it, and he never hit one.
Here's what I think. I think Albert Pujols getting to 700 was more historic than.
That doesn't matter at all. Has anyone ever cared about Albert Pujols?
But think about this.
What?
Think about this. What Judge just did is almost 10% of the total home runs that Albert Pujols has hit in his entire career
Can't argue with that.
in one season.
I mean, Albert's like, I love Albert. He's a nice guy, but like, he was never the best player in the league or anything. I feel like, I don't know.
What?
you
Are
didn't
you
watch
insane
baseball?
right now?
Dude, okay, I know he was good back in the day.
The best hitter in the league for like 7 years in a row in the early 2000s.
No, he was never that guy. Pablo Sanchez was that guy.
That's
If
like if
folks
you're
are wondering
saying
why we don't
after
talk
Kobe
baseball.
retired. Well, he was never like one of the greatest players in the NBA. It's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, one of, yeah, but he's not all that.
Albert Pujols is
I stand by
the
it.
best baseball player, best batter within our, like, since we were little kids.
No, Barry
He's top
Bonds.
5. He's top 5 for sure.
Barry Bonds is way better.
Barry Bonds probably is better, but he
also was
on the
steroids
roids.
when we were little.
He was on
when
the
we were
roids,
little
though.
kids.
Who's to say
Yeah.
Albert wasn't on the roids?
Come on, you just talked about how great of a guy he was. You think a guy
He's
like
a great
that?
guy. He still shoots up from now and again. I mean, we don't we don't know if any of these guys are on
Why are
the
you
roids.
hating on Albert Pujols so much?
Yeah, what is going on? When did this become the Albert Pujols hate show?
I didn't really expect anyone to disagree, to be honest. Just kind of threw it out there.
He was the National League MVP in 2005, 2008, and 2009, and he's 11-time All-Star.
MVP doesn't mean
He had
anything.
700
Mike Trout wins it
career
all
home
the time.
runs.
Mike Trout is
Yeah, because Mike Trout's one of the best players in baseball.
Let's bring your team to the playoffs one time, Mike Trout.
Baseball's the one sport where one player can't change that.
This is honestly like if when Dirk Nowitzki broke the whatever the number of points was, where he got into like third or whatever it was, 5th, 7th all time. If you had been like, oh, Dirk Nowitzki was never that good, it's like what?
That's a good comparison, honestly. They're getting all that. I'm
Fuck
just
you.
kidding. I love That's kind of a good analogy, though.
Thank you.
Because Albert, I just never felt like he was like the best player. That's all I was trying to say, I guess. I know he's really good, obviously.
I mean, you were incorrect about that, but
So anyway, Judge had 62 home
30,000.
runs. Anyone cares. Is this like the non-steroid record, basically?
The
Or something?
non-what?
Steroid record? Maybe Judge shoots up from now and again, though.
It is the non-steroid record, yes. If that's how you want to do it, but I mean, someone still hit more. I'm in that boat where it's like, yeah, they shot up, but at the same time, it takes a lot of skill to be able to put the bat on the ball to be able to do it.
Yeah, everyone was doing it. They're the best out of anyone who was doing it. You can only judge people based on their peers, right?
Yes, I guess so. Are we a philosophical podcast now?
Always have been. Last thing I want to touch on. My God.
Can I say
Victor
this though before we move?
Wembanyama?
Okay, never mind. We moved off it.
Well, spoilers, but you can go ahead and say your little baseball take.
It's not a take, it's a stat, which is pretty remarkable. Albert Pujols homered in his first regular season home at bat with the Cardinals in 2001. And he homered to break the record in his last regular season home at bat, also with the Cardinals.
Pretty dope, honestly.
That's wild.
Yeah, they probably threw him like a 60-mile-per-hour pitch down the middle.
He's such a hater today.
What were we talking about? What was I going to spoil?
Wemby, baby.
Victor Wembanyama. I got to tell you, boys, I am starting to get real excited. They had a showcase
Starting?
last night.
Did you watch? Or
With
just
his
watch
French
highlights?
team. No, I just watched the highlights. His French team versus Scoot Henderson, our boy, second
Scoot.
pick in the draft, and his G League team. And Okay, I'm just gonna. I don't know. Like, probably maybe our listeners haven't know much about Victor. I know Matt doesn't. So Matt, I'm speaking to you. This guy is 7'4". He's not just like 7 feet tall. Okay, that would be enough. He's 4 inches taller than that. To be clear, how big do you think his hands are? They're not 6 inches. I'll tell you that much.
Let me try to see.
And but he can do everything. He can dribble. He can shoot. He shoots like he looks like Kevin Durant when he shoots.
Dude, it's insane.
And his defense is incredible as well. Like, what is the weakness in his game? I mean, he's blocking shots. He's hitting pull-up threes. Boy, oh boy.
They were down in the fourth quarter of that game, and then Wemby took over. He hit back-to-back threes to bring him within like two. If he's playing on an NBA team, like the rest of the team is searching for him, right? Because he's heating up at that point, and like,
yeah,
you're searching for that player. It was wild watching his team. Not a single person looked to even pass at him. They were all just wanted to score, and it's like, come on, we're not here to watch you.
Yeah, he hit 7 threes with ease.
Like, I'm not here to watch Steve Ho you fat.
Are you sure?
By the way, that is the man's name on his on Wemby's basketball team. Steve, 2 E's, well, 3 E's, 2 E's before the V. Steve Ho you fat.
Wait, like his middle name's O and then his last name's you fat?
Ho. His last name is Ho you fat.
I gotta see.
I can't find out like if he had to have changed his name, right? But I can't find anything that's
well, how's it spelled?
HO space YOU space FAT. Ho
Are you
fat.
serious?
I swear to God. And the announcer says, Ho you fat with a 3. And he said, don't be blowing me up on Twitter. I'm just pronouncing his name.
Oh my God, we need to get research on this and figure out what is
I tried today. There's nothing to find.
According to Wikipedia, it says, after an exhibition game against the G League Ignite in 2022, Ho You Fat went viral due to his last name, which resembles an insulting slang phrase in English.
Resembles? It is an insulting slang.
Maybe it's, I mean, is that a phrase in French or like a name or just a
that's what I'm wondering. Is he French or is he just playing for a French team?
He's French.
He's French.
He was born in French Guyana.
Okay. Well, regardless speaking, we are going to see a lot of teams tanking for this man. I mean, the Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs, it's going to be despicable what they do this year, trying to get this guy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was one of the most dominating performances I've ever seen from someone, especially at that size. His ball handling, like you said, his spot up shooting, his step back shooting. It was such a sight to behold. Like, I hadn't watched much Wemby because he plays overseas, right? So I'm not, I've seen highlights before, but to watch him in like a real setting, in an NBA setting, essentially, before they have different rules, I guess, over there. And so they had to explain like what the rule differences were.
Yeah.
The man just dominated.
I mean, he doesn't look real. Like, he looks like if you create a player in a video game, like, hey, let's make this as tall as I can. Yeah, I told Kyle to look CGI, and Kyle said, what's CGI?
How was I supposed to know that's what you meant?
I think it was a fair mistake. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't look real at all. Like, it's great. It's like, you know how there's like those big guys in Avatar, you know? That's CGI, right?
All
it's
of
like
Avatar
that on a
CGI,
basketball court. Yeah. Anyway, I think we've about had enough. I don't know about you guys, but Kyle's been painting a tapestry this whole time.
He still hasn't finished somehow.
Jesus, this better be the best Photoshop you've ever done in your young life.
I think it will be.
All right. Well, Kyle, look up for 1 second to send our listeners away after this despicable podcast we just recorded.
Yeah.
That's it? Yeah.
You know, he'd be the one doing the send off.
If you want to find us, rewind the show, listen to Sam talk about our socials at the beginning and listen to it
Yeah.
again. We love you, Belgium.
Shout out Belgium.